Hello everyone, welcome to Trades Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Pop Culture Mechanic, but please call me Pop for short. So, the end of the month, February, where did it go? It's like we blinked and it was gone. Well, on to another month tomorrow. So, we will go through a few articles that I've managed to look at and see what they have to say. Nope, not that one. Just going to pick the right one here. There we go. That one. There we are. All right. So I saw this article and it seemed to be pretty relevant to what I always talk about here about the skilled trades and what is going on there and how we have a shortage and we need more people to get into the trades. This says here, Industry Minister announces $250 million to train workers for emerging sectors. Ottawa is launching a $250 million training program targeting skills needed for high-growth sectors, Federal Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne said Friday. The program, funding for which was announced in the 2021 budget, will help 15,000 mid-career workers to transition into new positions in sectors including clean tech, cybersecurity, and biomanufacturing, he said. I'm one of those who believe that we have everything that the new economy needs and wants, and it starts with people, Champagne said. The Upskilling for Industry initiative will be delivered through not-for-profit organization Palette Skills, which was chosen after a call for applications that closed last year, the minister said. Champagne said the initiative will connect industry employers, post-secondary institutions, and private training providers to deliver upskilling programs. The funding will support the development and implementation of short-cycle upskilling programs based on industry needs, he said. There are tectonic shifts occurring with the move toward a green economy and more digital world, said Champagne. Canada has what the economy of the 21st century needs, he said. Palette CEO Rhonda Barnett said that organizations across the country, such as training organizations and post-secondary institutions, will be able to propose programs and apply for the funding. The targeted training programs will be between 4 and 16 weeks long, she said. The minister spoke at a Canadian Club event on Friday afternoon in Toronto, saying Canada is facing generational opportunities that need to be seized. He said Canada's greatest asset is talent, and said that is what allows the country to attract large investment in key sectors. He said Canada has seen unprecedented investment in emerging technologies because it has the fundamentals to support it, giving as an example a hydrogen plant being built in Alberta by Air Products Canada. I'm very pleased to say that Canada is still a big magnet for talent, he said. Champagne said food security, energy security, and supply chain resiliency are top of mind for leaders around the world, and he thinks Canada can play a big role in those three areas. You should have mentioned the skilled trades as well there, Minister, because if you don't fill up those spaces, they're going to be gone, and you're going to not be able to do any of these fancy projects that you want to do. So that was that article. Moving along. This is from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and I know a lot of my watchers are out of the U.S., so this is relevant to you. Understanding America's labor shortage, the most impacted industries. The education and health services, professional and business services, trade and leisure, and hospitality sectors have the highest numbers of job openings. It says here, the pandemic caused a major disruption in America's labor force, something may have referred to as the Great Resignation. In 2021, more than 47 million workers quit their jobs, many of whom were in search of an improved work-life balance and flexibility, increased compensation, and a strong company culture. But a closer look at what has happened to the labor force can be better described as the Great Reshuffle, because hiring rates have outpaced quit rates since November of 2020. So many workers are quitting their jobs, but many are getting rehired elsewhere. The U.S. Chamber is capturing the trends on job openings, labor force participation, quit rates, and more for a quick understanding of the state of the workforce in our America Works data center. Read on for an analysis of which industries have been impacted the most. An in-depth look at how the worker shortage is impacting the nation is here. An interactive map tracking the worker shortage across the states is here. We can look at those later on. It goes along. Food service and hospitality struggle to retain workers. During the pandemic, reshuffling jobs that require in-person attendance and traditionally have lower wages have had a more difficult time retaining workers. For example, the leisure and hospitality industry has had the highest quit rate since July 2021, consistently above 5.2%. The quit rate for the retail trade industry isn't far behind, with rates hovering around 4% in the fall of 2022. Both industries continue to face quit rates that are higher than the falling national average of 2.7%. But at the same time, the hiring rate has continuously outpaced quit rates. Leisure and hospitality lost 860,000 workers in November 2022, but 1.1 million people were hired into the industry that same month. In fact, leisure and hospitality has maintained the highest hiring rate of all industries since November 2020, fluctuating between 7 to 9%. This is very high compared to the national hiring rate, which was 3.9% in November 2022. When taking a look at the labor shortage across different industries, the transportation, healthcare, and social assistance and the accommodation and food sectors have the highest numbers of job openings. Yet, despite the high number of job openings, transportation and the healthcare and social assistance sectors have maintained relatively low quit rates. The food sector, on the other hand, struggles to retain workers and has experienced consistently higher than average quit rates. Meanwhile, in more stable, higher-paying industries, the number of employees quitting has been lower. And here we have one of the first charts here, December 2020 quit rates by industry. More workers across industries are quitting their jobs. And this purple line here looks like leisure and hospitality, eventually ending up in December of 2022 at 5.1%. Wholesale and retail trade is next. The red one is professional and business services. White one is durable goods manufacturing, and orange is financial activities. A closer look at labor force participation. To further understand shifts in the labor force, it is interesting to look at labor force participation across different industries. Some have a shortage of labor, while others have a surplus of workers. For example, durable goods manufacturing, wholesale and retail trade, and education and health services have a labor shortage. These industries have more unfilled job openings than unemployed workers with experience in their respective industry. Even if every unemployed person with experience in the durable goods manufacturing industry were employed, the industry would fill roughly a third of the vacant jobs. Conversely, in the transportation, construction, and mining industries, there is a labor surplus. There are more unemployed workers with experience in their respective industry than there are open jobs. The manufacturing industry faced a major setback after losing roughly 1.4 million jobs at the onset of the pandemic. Since then, the industry has struggled to hire entry-level and skilled workers alike. This is another chart, labor force shortage by industry. So the dark character is unfilled job openings. So durable goods and manufacturing. Wholesale and retail is high enough, but it looks like it's about almost 50% for durable goods and manufacturing. I have financial activities is down there, professional and business services, leisure and hospitality. This is from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, so it's a government organization, so who knows how well they're interpreting what they're finding. Remote work has changed the game. Some industries have been less impacted by labor shortage, but are grappling with how to deal with the rise of remote work. For example, The rise of remote work might explain why there has been less reshuffling in businesses and professional services. Gallup found that 91% of U.S. workers hoped they could continue working some of their hours from home, and 3 in 10 workers signaled they would seek new employment if they were recalled to the office. The business and professional services industry has, for the most part, experienced an unemployment rate lower than or equal to the national average, and an above-average hiring rate. More than 4.7 million people were hired into the industry between July 2022 and November 2022. Okay, now we have a chart for unemployment by industry. The national employment rate in the U.S. is 3.4%. Looks like leisure and hospitality is 6%, wholesale and retail is 5.1%, professional and business is 3.5%, financial activities is 2.3%, and durable goods manufacturing is 2.3%. 2 years ago, finance, management, professional services, and IT telecommunication jobs were expected to have the highest potential for remote work. That has been true for most of the pandemic, as more than half of the traditionally white-collar workers were still working from home, at least part-time, in spring of 2021. This number has been trending downward recently due in part to the labor market tightening and employers asking to see employees in office more often. Employers must still work to attract and retain talent. Many businesses have embraced remote or hybrid work models and flexible scheduling. Others are helping their workforce navigate childcare, and some are offering innovative benefits. No one solution to industry labor shortages or employee retention exists, nor are there any solutions appropriate for all industries and employers. The U.S. Chamber is proud to lead the business community in identifying the actions employers can take to offer good jobs to Americans. Businesses can increase their hiring pools by removing barriers to entering the workforce by expanding childcare access and second chance hiring, and providing opportunities for new and existing staff to be upskilled and reskilled on the job. Learn about how the U.S. Chamber is driving solutions through the America Works Initiative. For more information on the America Works Initiative, contact Jenna Shrove at jshrove@uschamber.com. Okay, well, during the whole pandemic for me, there's no working remote. You're a tradesman. I have to go and repair equipment and be on site. There's no working remote. So during that whole time the pandemic was going on, I had to keep reporting to work in person all the time. So that was fine by me. I was happy to be out there and just working away in person rather than staying at home, being stagnant. Okay, well, I hope this last article will be a little more trades related. I thought this one would mention something, but it didn't mention anything about the skilled trades here. Come on, U.S. Chamber of Commerce. You guys got to step it up here. You guys have a skilled trade shortage. You should focus on that. Next, from the Seattle Times, Pacific Northwest Magazine. As tech jobs melt, the trades beckon. This Tacoma plumber makes $140,000 plus. That's crazy. It's unbelievable. Let's see. Meet Will Lane, 31, of Tacoma, who never went to college. He's a journeyman plumber. He figures he earns $140,000 to $160,000 a year. He has plenty of work. Turns out you don't need a 4-year degree and massive college debt to make a very comfortable living. Exactly. I've been saying this for so long. You don't need to go to university. You don't need to go to college. And you can make excellent money. High school students, the skilled trades, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, ironworking, and numerous others are beckoning. There is another world out there besides sitting in a cubicle staring at a screen, especially now. The trades are a nice alternative to the shock undergoing the knowledge economy. There were 200,000 tech company firings at some 1,000 firms last year and into February, according to the tracking site layoffs.fyi. Silicon Valley as we know it with its radically transparent company cultures, empowered employees, flat hierarchies, and rarefied perks like nap pods and free food, is quickly disappearing. And it's unlikely to return, wrote Nadia Rawlinson, the former chief people officer at Slack, the chat room used by companies in place of email, in a January 19th New York Times essay. But in the trades, it's a different story. Angie Hicks is the co-founder of Angie's List, now Angie, which pairs homeowners and contractors. A nap pod would be awesome. Hey, Godzillionaire. Yeah. I've been thinking about taking my video camera with me to work and doing like a mocking that video they have of the Google employee or whatever. Yeah, watching those little clips that they do, or those little movies they put up, just makes my blood boil. It's just I can't even talk about it. I get so angry. But the article continues. Speaking by phone from her home in Indianapolis, she says the trades have always been insulated from the economy a bit. For most people, their individual home is their largest investment. They want to protect it. I always remind people that the housing market and home improvement market are two different things. Whether you're buying or selling a home doesn't mean we're not taking care of them. The plumbing industry is a particularly strong example of the shortage of people in that trade, as workers are aging out. Yes, I've said this before. The boomers are getting to retirement age, and there's no one stepping in to take their place. You were happy when you got free coffee? Or you were happy when you got free coffee. Yeah. Well, that's a good thing about the place I'm at. We have a Keurig, and we just get Van Oot to supply us with some Keurig pods, and the guys are happy. They're not happy when we run out though, so I make sure I make an order every month there. Got to keep them pacified. According to Data USA, which compiles U.S. government data, there were more than 500,000 plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters in the United States in 2020. Nearly a third of them, 28%, were over the age of 50. At Indeed.com, the job listing site, there were more than 300 recent listings for Washington state plumbing jobs, some offering up to $10,000 as a sign-up bonus. A $10,000 signing bonus. That is awesome. That is unprecedented. I've never heard of that before. But that is great. Lane works for Heart Services, a Tacoma company that covers from Olympia to Everett. For Lane and his wife, who works for a nonprofit, his plumbing salary has given me the opportunity to do well in life, be able to afford to buy a new home, travel, do things we enjoy, he says. He's from Australia. In high school there, says Lane, they definitely push for the trades if you're not interested in studying in college. There are a lot of options for work experiences, and if you don't have contacts in the trades, they can set you up. It's a different story in Seattle public schools, although that's changing. In 2020, there were nearly 15,000 high school students in the district. Only 220 were enrolled at the Skills Center Trades program, which includes maritime vessel operation, auto technology, medical office assistant, constructions, and video game design. That's 1.5%. One problem is that the classes are spread around various Seattle locations. That means students spend half a day at their regular school and have to make their way to the trades classes by bus or rideshare. Dan Golesman, the enthusiastic principal of the program, hopes the Skills Center eventually can be cited in one central location. For right now, he simply wants kids to know the trades opportunities are there. Okay, here you go. skillscenter.seattleschools.org. Send that to anybody. Send anybody to this website that's in high school in the Seattle area. See if they are interested. We're paying the price for pushing high school kids to go to college, writes Matt R. B. Crawford in his bestseller Shop Class as Soulcraft, an Inquiry into the Value of Work. In a May 21st, 2009 New York Times essay adapted from the book, he writes, high school shop class programs were widely dismantled in the 1990s as educators prepared students to become knowledge workers. The imperative of the last 20 years to round up every warm body and send it to college, then to the cubicle, was tied to a vision of the future in which we somehow take leave of material reality and glide about in a pure information economy. This has not come to pass. I agree. I think, and I was in high school, I was just graduating high school in the early 90s, and I'm glad I went through when I did, because I did get exposure to some good shop classes, woodworking, electronics, drafting, all that good stuff. Crawford, 57, floats between the trades and the knowledge economy. He earned a PhD in political philosophy from the University of Chicago and is a senior fellow at the University of Virginia's Institute for Advanced Studies in Culture. He also once owned a motorcycle repair shop and says that for the past 10 years he spent half of the day modifying an old VW Bug made up of parts from various years. In a phone interview, Crawford, who lives in the San Francisco area, says that in the trades there is no ambiguity that you're doing something useful. But in the knowledge economy, says Crawford, you're trafficking in abstractions. The standards are more amorphous. You are never quite sure where you stand in an office environment. It's like walking on eggshells. On a recent afternoon, Lane is overseeing 2 plumbing apprentices in an in-house training program started by Hartz. It's the company's way of attracting new employees. Lane is doing the actual pipework. The apprentices cut the drywall, sweep up. They're watching Lane and learning, one step at a time. For 8 weeks, while getting paid, they get classroom training and hands-on learning. The company says it'll help the apprentices prepare for the state's plumber's exam. Sure it will. I mean, good on this guy for having the apprentices watching and learning while he's doing, he should be getting them to do some of the work as well. Maybe some of the more non-critical work. Besides the exam, the state mandates that those in the trades take part in apprenticeships that can last from 2 to 5 years. Yeah, that's right. To work in just residential plumbing requires at least 6,000 hours, or about 3 years. As an apprentice, at its Become an Apprentice website, the state's Department of Labor and Industry shares everything you need to know about jobs, including a machinist, butcher, and dental assistant. The initial pay for apprentices with Hartz is minimal, $16 an hour, but as they pass various skill tests, the pay increases by $1 an hour up to $20 an hour the first year. Then the pay keeps increasing, $25 an hour, $30, $35, and up, as apprenticeship hours accumulate and exams are passed. And that is how it should be. You pass your exam, you get your next year, boom, another raise. $94,900 was the average annual earning in 2022 for those completing apprenticeships in all the trades, averaging out lower paid jobs such as flaggers with, say, electricians, according to the state's Workforce Training and Education Coordinating Board. Whew, that is a good pay. Tanya Miller, 42, of Lakewood, is one of the apprentices assigned to Lane. On this particular day, a home in Des Moines is being repiped because the old water pipes have been leaking. God, I hate water damage. Oh, water damage is just so terrible. The problem is the local Domino's is advertising $20 an hour to deliver pizzas. Nobody wants to work entry level anymore. Yeah, I guess we got to explain to them that, yeah, you can earn that money, but is it a career? Are you going to be delivering pizza when you're 50 years old? Are you going to be able to keep up with this? Are they going to give you are you going to get a loan for a mortgage by telling them that, yeah, I deliver pizza? The bank will laugh you out of the freaking, they'll laugh you out of the bank. But, I mean, I guess if people are fine with settling for that, but why, if you could earn 30 or 35 or 40, why wouldn't you do that? What else we got here? Miller has had a varied work background, a charge nurse at a nursing home, then a traveling teacher who ended up teaching in Egypt. She has a grown son and an 11-year-old daughter. My auntie and my cousins are helping me. They watch my daughter, she says, about getting through the finances of her apprenticeship. She talks about setting an example for other black women going into the trades. Time is on my side. It's win-win for me. Rachel Nelson, 35, of Granite Falls. She's in her 5th and final year. It's now been changed to a 4-year program of an electrician apprenticeship. in inside wiring put together by the contractors and labor. The actual name of the program is very long and not easily remembered. The Puget Sound Electrical Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee, sponsored by the Puget Sound chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association and Local 46 and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Whew, that is a long one. When finished, Nelson will be qualified to do any kind of commercial, industrial, or residential work. Yeah, from what I know about electricians, and I've worked with a lot of them, you can try to go from residential to industrial, but it's going to be a big learning curve. There's residential, you're pulling wire, putting in boxes and electrical and outlets. Industrial, you are dealing with 480 volt, 600 volt breakers, all that kind of stuff, and it's quite different, especially when troubleshooting. So I know it says she can do any kind of commercial, industrial, residential work, but that is not true. As a journeyman, that's the term for when she's accumulated 8,000 hours as an apprentice, completed classwork, and passed the state exam. Her expected annual union wages will be $110,000 to $135,000 a year. Nelson did go the college route once. Oh, okay, so union wages. Okay, yeah, so when you work for the union, you're going to get a specified wage that they have to pay you. Bit difference between 120 volt and 460, 570. Yes. Yeah. But I worked with this one electrician who did come from just doing commercial and residential stuff. And yeah, he struggled a bit because it's definitely different. You got to go out there and you're dealing with higher voltages, and you know, you're getting into opening up panels and boxes and such like that. And the troubleshooting is probably the most difficult of all. She earned mechanical engineering and construction engineering degrees from Purdue University, then worked in the oil and gas industry and for a general contractor. About her career switch, she says, I enjoy being an engineer, but it's kind of like doing a lot of babysitting. A lot of what an engineer does is quality control stuff. The tradesmen install the work. The engineer comes after the fact and checks. I want to be hands-on. Well, good for her. Engineers, from what I've seen, is the engineers make the plans, and they usually don't consult with the people that are doing the work, the tradesmen that are doing the actual work. They just figure, yep, this is how it's going to be. And they don't talk to us, and we go and do the work. And when it turns out wrong, they point the finger at us. So a good engineer has to spend time in the field, I think. I think there should be a requirement that they spend at least 2 years, maybe 3, in the field, hands-on, and not just sitting behind a desk on their computer thinking that, yeah, everything I say will work. Electricity is just modern-day black magic. Changed my mind. Yeah, I could see that guy sitting behind the table there. Show it to me. I can't see it. Where's the electricity? Why is this working? It's magic, I tell you. You laugh the engineers straight out of the college that know nothing. Oh, that's the best, eh? I've had that too. We have what's called a RAP student, which means that they're in high school, but they're doing their work like engineering training. And it's like, no one's going to take you seriously. You're how old? 19? 20? You're not going to get put in charge of anything. It's like, just shut up and listen, kid. That's pretty much it. You can say that you're you're an engineer and all that, but you have zero experience. Nelson also remembers her engineering days. When she was talking to a carpenter apprentice at the end of the week, he was bringing home more money than I was with 4 years of college and 2 degrees. I thought, this is ridiculous. As an apprentice electrician, she started off around $24 an hour the first year, and now is at about $50 an hour. In college, she accumulated $45,000 in student loans at Purdue and has paid them off. That's another thing I don't agree with, is accumulating this debt to do your college or university. Whereas when you're in the trades, you don't have to go into debt. You don't have to take on these giant student loans. Tens of thousands of Washingtonians. Yeah, that's my Canadian coming out. I can't. Washingtonians are carrying huge college debt. In Washington, nearly 783,000 residents held $28 billion in federal student loans in March 2022. According to the U.S. Department of Education, nearly half of those loans are for more than $20,000, and more than 3/4 are to people under 50, says a September 21st, 2022 Seattle Times story. Not good for that FICO score. I assume that's like your credit score or something in the U.S.? FICO score? I've never heard of that. There is a hitch for getting paid as an apprentice. Nelson signed an in-kind repayment, meaning that after she completes the program, she will work for union contractors for the same amount of time she spent in the program. In her case, 5 years. Her union dues will be about $60 a month. That's reasonable. And yeah, there was an agreement I signed with my company too. I'll complete my apprenticeship, and you guys help pay for it, and I will stick around for 2 years. Fewer apprentices renege on the repayment, says Ryan Bratt, training director for the electrician apprenticeship program. They're making too much money. There are hurdles to getting into the program. About 15% to 20% of applicants fail the algebra and reading and comprehension tests, Bratt says. You also need to handle sitting in a classroom, as was the case at the Renton Training Center, where people were working from a textbook titled Fundamentals of Motor Control. A typical page begins. Automatically operated input devices are switches, triggered by a change in a process parameter. Examples of process parameters include liquid level and pressure, fluid flows, and material temperature. Okay, well, what that is whoever wrote that needs to dumb it down. You don't need to go that deep and that complicated when they're doing motor control and such. There is also the matter of some people pondering an apprenticeship have never done work building with their hands. A free, 10-week construction pre-apprenticeship program run by Edmonds College is headquartered in a 33,000 square foot building at Payne Field in Everett. It holds an aerospace manufacturing school. During the 10 weeks of the program, the 9 students in this class will build a tiny house that eventually will be transported to a village for unsheltered people. The students start out with a forklift unloading 2x4s, plywood, metal, flashing, vinyl, plank flooring, nails of all sorts, from hanger nails to roofing nails, from a list of 63 items. What is a pre-apprenticeship? Larry Klupf, head of both programs, explains some students may never have held a hand tool, never used a measuring tape or a square. They have not developed skills enough to get into an apprenticeship program. Still, employers come recruiting to these classes. It's almost an emergency state right now, finding trained workers, says Klupf. Chelsea Andrews, 19, of Stanwood, is one of the 9 students in the group recent pre-apprenticeship class. There are 5 women in the group. I was shocked when I walked into the classroom for the first time and I saw multiple women. I was very happy, she says. A lot of women are scared to take that step. I felt I was going to feel stupid and looked down on for going into the trades. The trades traditionally have been male-dominated, but that's changing. In this state, women made up a little over 1/10, and minorities about 1/3 of the 22,000 people in apprenticeships last year, according to Labor and Industries. So things are improving. Andrews remembers the first time she used the skill saw in class. I remember my heart was pounding. My first cut was not a straight line at all. I was nervous, staring at the line, but after the 3rd or 4th time, I could get it pretty good. A 2022 Stanwood High graduate, she says, I was never strong in school. I kind of knew I would go into the trades. I just didn't know how. Then she heard about Edmonds College program with free tuition worth $5,000, underwritten by sponsors such as Sound Transit. Now, says Andrews, she's confident enough in her skills that she fixed some broken stairs in her family's home. It had been broken for like a year. I said, what if I get the chop saw? It was very easy. I had always thought it was some difficult task. Darren Vendy, 22, is another student in the group. After graduating in 2018 from Juanita High School in Kirkland, he says, I had different jobs here and there. He was a dishwasher and made pizza at a restaurant, worked for Amazon at a bakery. His high school counselors and family friends suggested he try the trades. Certainly, the potential for good money was an inducement. Vendy remembers how it was at the beginning of the pre-apprenticeship. All the nails I tried to hammer were bent and crooked. By the second day, all the nails were pretty straight, he says. For Seattle public high schoolers considering trades, Golisman gives out a 53-page booklet titled Construction Apprenticeship Guidebook. The annual booklet is available online. There we go, and there's a link to get to it. It lists page after page of apprenticeships in 24 categories. So many opportunities. Page 7 has some striking numbers. It compares the finances of apprenticeships versus college. Total over 4 years. Apprenticeship, $176,000 to $291,000 earnings plus benefits and pension. College, $90,000 debt, college degree. Well, that's got to be a no-brainer there. I mean, if after 4 years you're earning big bucks and no debt, and you go to college and you have $90,000 in debt, I mean, debt is not good. You could argue the figures, which are based on decade-old numbers from the state, but the point is there, the jobs and the money are waiting in the trades. As Princeton University economist Alan S. Blinder wrote in a 2005 paper, you can't hammer a nail over the internet, at least not yet. And there you go, folks. That is from the Seattle Times of all places, letting you know what to expect if you are in Washington State, that getting into the trades is a good idea. A skill that you can take with you the rest of your life. No one can ever take that knowledge away from you. All right, well, now that we're done with that one, how about, where are you? There you are. I remember on one of the other streams, it might have been on Blaine's stream, but we were talking about building demolition, and what they do. And a lot of it was about using charges and such to take out the supports and bring the building down. From my experience, and I have pictures that I'm going to show you guys about how I was there when they were taking down one of the buildings of the place I worked at. And as you can see here, there's a little bit of rubble I got a picture of. And that's the building that they're taking down right here. You can see. So what had happened is the roof had a wrinkle in it. And they were like, well, we can't do anything to fix it. So we're going to condemn the building and we're going to take it down. And the city was all for it. They're like, yep, okay. And there's a little better shot of what it looks like. So all this is being done by an excavator with a claw on it. There was no big explosions or anything like that. It was just simply the machine doing its job. And I should have some picture. There it is. So all it did was it went in and it took out the supports, the columns that were holding up the roof, or the hold up the building. All it did was go along and just take out the supports, and the building just came down nice and quiet. No explosions, that's BS. Well, you know, you can't always do big explosions, but yeah, as you can see, this building is huge. This was the largest stainless steel building in North America. And it had to be stainless steel because inside was compost that was very humid and hot. So there was a lot of potential for rusting. So they made the whole building out of stainless steel. There's a little close-up shot there. It had a sort of an attic. So as you can see here, this yellow insulation was the bottom floor of the attic, and then the top here was the roof. And as we move along here, this was another shot. I was walking along a little sidewalk along the side, and this you could see here, the building's still standing here, and it's just starting to crumble here. And there it is there. There's the excavator. He's just going along every so often and just pushing on the supports, and push them, and the building just quietly crumbles. There's a longer shot. I was all over the place. I was walking back and forth and all over, just trying to get the best shots. There's another shot of it there, but I believe this is when it was, yeah, the building is down here, and they had this, I think they have it, yeah, they had this fence to keep us out. You weren't allowed to get into that area because, you don't want to get run over or things falling on you. I do have some, after these pictures, I'll show you some video. There we go, right there. Okay, see that okay? This is, I'm just taking a clip. Just watching this guy. And he's just going at it himself there. Look at all that rubble. That is just pieces of the building. And I got the one more, I think. I might like this a little better. I'm getting actual footage of it taking out the sides of the supports there. It's pretty simple. He just pushes. And he goes along. And he just pushes. I think that was the last one I had. Yes, it was. So there you go. Building demolition. It's not well, for that instance, it's not that glamorous. No, like I said, no big explosions, but what's left over after this is they come in and they sort through it. So they come in with more excavators and more dump trucks, and they sort through everything. So metal gets sorted out, wood and garbage gets sorted out. Anything that can't be recycled or anything like that puts in another pile. I think they even tore up all the concrete. So that would have to be sorted out. And they had a neat bucket. So they had a bucket on the excavator, but it had holes in it, so it could be used like a sieve. You could sift through all the material there, so it would sift through the dirt, and you'd get the rocks and concrete out of it. So that was pretty neat. But yes, this was quite the endeavor, and it took them a long time to sort through all the debris in the building. But they were happy to do it. I think all the scrap steel, I'm sure they must have paid the company, because that was a lot of scrap steel there. I mean, just everything, especially it being stainless. I'm sure a lot of places wouldn't have minded getting their hands on that. Oh yeah, and here it happened in 2020, according to my timestamp there. And as you can see, right in front of it is the giant filter that they used for all the air in that building. So that building, the air in there was so foul, they would push it through the wood chips filter here to try to get rid of the smell. And it worked actually not too bad. I have some shots of us, my team, changing out these filters, and it's quite the task to change out the media in this filter and to swap it out with some new stuff. It takes about 6 weeks, I think. 6 to 8 weeks to get that done. It's pretty good. I did it a few times, so got a bit of experience there. Yeah, all the debris. Oh, let's see. What else do I got here for? I'll have a look. Well, I do have a picture of what it looked like inside that building. So before the building came down, it was very useful and being used for all the compost. And the compost would get aerated by this big machine here. No, it's not a good picture, but that wasn't what I was focusing on at the time. But it would go through with the giant augers and turn it up, turn up the all the material and aerate it and turn it into compost. Yeah, what I was getting a picture of is how big of a hairball got stuck under this conveyor. Then guys would have to come with air wands and 1-inch diameter pipes that they'd push air through to blow that out of there. Well, that's always fun. I'm sure glad I didn't have to do that. There's a better shot of it. That is just all the garbage that people throw it in their garbage cans. And it ends up here. As you can see, somebody shops at Costco. Kirkland brand, whatever these are. What is it? Yeah. Tail on shrimp. Okay. It's shrimp. But yes, that is what that building was used for before it got taken down. That's too bad, but that's the way she goes. So, no questions? Comments? Anybody know anybody that's in the skilled trades at all? That wants to, or not in the skilled trades, but wants to get into them? Or do we have any people that are in the skilled trades? I wouldn't mind having them on as a guest. Do a little interview. I'm always wondering what brought people into getting in the skilled trades and all that. So just spread the word. Let them know. I definitely have to find some people to do some interviews with. It's getting to be to the top of the hour now. I hope everyone enjoyed their time with me today. I had a good time. I like extolling the virtues of being in the skilled trades. I hope you guys do too. I like showing you some of the projects I've been on. And hopefully I can show you some new stuff too. I gotta remember to bring my camera with me where I'm at now, take some pictures and documenting things, just to show you what's out there. Because not a lot of people are aware of all the different jobs that are out there and things that need to get done. Oh, AC, welcome. Nice to see you. Did I show you my the building that got taken down? Here, I'll show you the building that got taken down. I know everybody else has seen it, but I'll show you. So this building was taken down, and it wasn't done with explosives or anything like that. It was done with a excavator. Hey, hang on. Got to make sure I can see the display. There we go. So yeah, this building had a trouble with the roof, and they didn't think they could fix it. So the city was like, "Well, we'll tear it down and we'll do something else. We'll build another building, maybe." So yeah, lots of devastation, but it was controlled. It was done all by this guy here. I got some video here. You can watch this guy. So there it is. There, it was quite a large building. It was actually really large. And you can see him there. He's in the excavator there, and he's just pushing on. He was pushing on the side, and then he pulls on the top, just to bring everything down. And it just slowly came down to the ground. You've been trying to gather a bunch of photos from your old work center, so if we ever do a trade stock together, I can share. Hey, that'd be great. You and I definitely have to do a collab then, because I was just mentioning that before you came on, that I want to do some interviews with people that and see what they've done in the past and such. I'm quite interested in that. I got one more video here. You can see I got a little closer to this guy to watch him take down the building. So I was wondering how they were going to do it too. And yeah, he just pushes on the side. Take out the support, and then I think he drives forward a little bit. And he just pushes on the building. Yeah, the building is huge. It is. And he just pushes on it. There you go. And the building just sinks down to ground level. So yeah. It isn't as exciting as blowing things up, but it's, in my opinion, it's safer and, makes for an easier cleanup. Because they come in after and they just sort through everything. All the steel, all the wood, all the concrete. And yeah, I have pictures from what it looks like inside that building. And this is what it looks like inside that building. This is how big it was. Michael Bay is not amused. No explosions. Yeah, well, if that's all you're known for when you're a director, I don't know if you're doing it right. But yeah, so inside this building are these three large turners, they called them, because they would turn the compost. We had 3 of those. And I think they were at least 600 feet long and 80 feet wide. And I believe these conveyors were even longer than that. Maybe 700 feet long. anyways, they would have these, what they called tripper cars. If anybody knows anything about conveyors, all a tripper car does is ride on this conveyor back and forth, and it spits stuff out at 90 degrees because it has another conveyor on it. So it rides along, the material goes along top, and then falls onto the other conveyor and gets shot out over here at 90 degrees. And it makes a nice even back and forth pass. So it goes over here, and then back over here, and then back over here, and it just loads it up. And then this machine comes along, and it works its way along, and it goes, and it starts back here, and it works everything back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, dragging it towards the end, to where it gets dumped on another conveyor. So it's pretty neat how they did that, and that is the process of composting all your municipal solid waste, or anything you throw in the garbage. Yeah, speaking of garbage, there's some lying around. As you can see, this is just from the humidity and all the particulate floating in the air, and just how corrosive, I shouldn't say corrosive, it just oxidizes all the wetness and everything. Everything rusts. Everything rusts, and everything deteriorates because of the heat, the humidity. And it was a very harsh environment for anything. And all of our tools, the people, the amount of ammonia that was in there, it could make you sick just by how much ammonia was in there. But yes. I was quite impressed how they took that building down. But anyways, I was going to wrap up the stream now, everybody. It's been my customary 1 hour time. I've had fun. I hope you have. Hope you learned a few things. And also, I hope I learned a few things from you guys. Because, it's a one-way street, and you should never stop learning. I'd like to thank everybody that came out today, like Godzillionaire. It's always a pleasure. And AC. Make sure, if you haven't subscribed to Angry Canadian, you should do it. He does some in-depth looks on gaming music. And he did that last one I saw was when he was doing one on Castlevania. I believe 1, 2, and 3. And all the background music that they had going on for that. That was an excellent one. I really enjoyed it. But then again, I'm a Castlevania fan, so. Anyone else who happened to be lurking, I appreciate it too. Yeah, no problem, buddy. No problem. So please slap that like button. It lets YouTube know that you guys thought I was okay. And tell your friends. Spread the word. Let them know, hey, there's this crazy tradesman out there. He's just yapping it up about how people need to go into the trades. And there's other channels out there too. People that are putting out good content. You should check them out. And I know some of you do already. Like Mike from Pacific 4 and 4. And Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner. Who will be probably going on right about now as we speak. He has a excellent channel. There's Ronin66 and DJ Ronnie G. There's Brandon the Anime Guy and the Nurporeal Lifeform. Punkwaddle from Floral from Under a Rock. And Woopa Troopa, who hopefully will have more content for us soon. I got my Discord. It's called The Shop because that's where tradesmen hang out. They hang out at the shop, shoot the breeze. I'm out there on Twitter. I got stuff on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. Coming up, Saturday. Saturday is video game day. I'm going to be playing more Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. Definitely getting right into it. It's such a good game. Very enjoyable. And then Sunday is Sunday Anime Chat. Well, it's the start of a new month by that time, so I have to figure out what am I going to do for March. What kind of anime theme should I have? I have an idea, but I'm not sure if it'll work. We'll see how it goes. Tune into that. See what I'm up to on Sunday Anime Chat. If you like anime, you should tune in. And we can talk. And then obviously next week will be another Trade Stock. I'll keep going. It'll be number 21. It'll be old enough to drink in the States. Minish Cap playthrough is a blast. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it. I like the good game mechanics it has, especially the being able to scale the cliffs and all that. That's excellent. I'm really enjoying that. So yes, I want to say thank you, everyone. I'm very grateful that you all showed up. And I will see you on Saturday. Until then, I'm Pop Culture Mechanic, and I am signing off.